Bob Henson. He's a weather and climate science blogger with Weather Underground. Bob, exact track appears uncertain at this point. What is your best estimate, I should say, when and where?
Well, the computer models are in very close agreement for the next 2 or 3 days that it will continue on a west-northwest track. It looks like that will probably skirt the coast of Puerto Rico and be just north of Hispaniola, and then perhaps brush the north coast of Cuba. It may move slightly inland. That will put the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos on the especially dangerous right-hand side of the storm. So I'm very concerned about those islands, especially the southeast Bahamas.
Are you surprised? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Are you surprised that this is still a strong, potentially destructive Category 5 hurricane after having gone through some of these islands?
Well, these islands are fairly small, the ones it's affected so far, so they've not been large enough to disrupt the circulation. It's an incredibly well-organized and powerful hurricane, as you know, and it doesn't look like anything will cause a significant decrease in strength. It might dip to Category 4, but nothing major in terms of decrease, unless it goes ashore in Cuba, which it might on Saturday. However, the real concern now is it will make a right turn. We were pretty confident around Saturday and head north. We just don't know if that will be on Florida or just west or just east, but it looks like the best bet is somewhere near the east coast of Florida.
How would you compare this to Hurricane Andrew, for example?
Well, there are some differences. Andrew was also a Category 5, but it moved from west to east directly across South Florida. So its greatest impacts were limited to the south half of the Miami metro area. The official forecast for Irma, in contrast, brings it near Miami and then right up the coast. So it could affect cities all the way from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, further up toward Melbourne. Any of those cities could get hurricane force conditions, and in fact major hurricane conditions fairly far north. So this could affect a far greater amount of real estate and property and lives than Hurricane Andrew. And
what about the storm surge?
That's another very big concern. A hurricane heading up through the Miami area from the south-southeast, if it's just west of Miami, is close to worst case for storm surge there. So I know officials there are very concerned. Further north, the hurricane may weaken, but it will be heading, it looks like, toward Georgia, South Carolina, and those areas are very vulnerable to storm surge. And even if Irma weakens, the water being pushed by it will continue to roll for some time. So there's a potential for an extreme storm surge all the way up as far as South Carolina, the way it looks now.
Bob, if you are a resident of Miami, Florida, should you be getting out?
Well, evacuation is difficult in Florida right now, in part because the storm will be moving north along the peninsula. I think folks should listen to their local authorities. If they are in a zone that mandates evacuation for a Category 3, 4, 5 hurricane, absolutely they should evacuate and figure out where on the peninsula is safe. And again, local authorities will be the best guide to that, as well as the official National Hurricane Center advisories. But this is a storm that Floridians really, really need to take seriously. It's about as bad an approach as you can get.
Bob, we've seen Harvey, now we're looking at Irma. We've seen monsoons in South Asia, drought and landslide in Africa. What is going on, and is the severity of what we're seeing because of climate change?
Well, all these things are happening in an environment where the climate is changing. You know, the Earth is absolutely getting warmer. The warmest 3 years on record were 2014, 2015, and 2016, and it looks like this year will be number 2. That warmth has warmed the oceans, so there's more fuel for hurricanes and more moisture in the atmosphere. So when a hurricane does make landfall, there's the potential for it to rain somewhat harder now because of that extra moisture. So all these things feed in, and there has been something of an increase in the intensity of the strongest hurricanes. Now, the big question is always where will they make landfall? And the United States has been very lucky. We have not had a major hurricane landfall from 2005 until Harvey, and now we're facing the potential of 2 Category 4s in 1 year. And we've never had that in the United States hurricane records. There have never been 2 Category 4s in 1 year. So I am concerned about the long-term effect of climate change on extreme weather, especially heavy rains.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Bob Henson, thank you so much.